In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I budget my $60,000 salary living in Atlanta. Let's get right into it. So the very first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a budget workbook. I'm going to link mine down below in the description box. You're also going to need a pen to write with, and you're also going to need a calculator to calculate everything with. Now, as a bonus, you will need some highlighters because what I do is I like to separate all of my bills and expenses into budget categories, because at the end of the month this will allow you to see how much money you are budgeting in each one of these categories, and if you need to cut something, it will be easily to find these items. So let's get right into how I budget my $60,000 salary living in Atlanta. So the very first thing I do is I write down my income. Now, I budget my income at the lowest amount that my paycheck has ever been, and all you have to do is go back through your previous year, all of your paychecks, and see which paycheck was the lowest amount. And from there, you want to have that as your baseline, as your budget. So for me, that is $1,900. And then I also include how many times am I paid that month. So when I'm creating my monthly budget, if I'm paid 2 times, I will put my paycheck number 1, paycheck number 2. If I'm paid 3 times, I will also add an additional paycheck number 3 there. But I also want to be able to account for the money that's left into my accounts, because I have mostly all of my bills and expenses on automatic draft. I need to see exactly where every single dollar is going. So I'm also going to put a line item for my remaining balances that are already in my accounts. After then I'm going to go ahead and total up my income for the month and what I'm potentially working with. So this allows me to see exactly how much money am I working with for the month. So for me, according to my April budget, I'm working with around $4,120.20. The next thing I do is I'm going to prioritize my most important expense to my least important expense. And so for me, my most important expense is my savings. So I'm going to go ahead and break down my savings into all of the categories that I have put aside where I actually save money. So for me, that's going to be my retirement, my investing, and then my personal savings / emergency fund. And inside of this savings, I'm budgeting $923.38. The next category is my home category, and inside of my home category is going to be my mortgage payment and all of my utilities. And this is actually the money that's going to go into a separate joint account that I share with my boyfriend. So we are putting $1,500 over there every single month starting in the month of May. However, we're going to have to raise that a little bit because, you know, the taxes on the house actually went up, which my mortgage payment actually is going up as well. So for my home category, I have the mortgage and the utilities, life insurance, short-term disability, aftercare fees for my son, and then my phone bill. So this month I'm budgeting $2,333. Now I'm still working on a way how I can cut some of these expenses. Most of these are like fixed expenses. Aftercare fees just went up for my son, so that was like an unexpected expense, an extra $100 going to aftercare fees. And then with the life insurance, that actually went up $2, so that was an unexpected expense as well. And then let me go back. So with my savings, I like to categorize each one of these categories into a different color. So that's what you're going to be using the highlighters for. Everything that you're putting up under your first category, you're going to give that a color. Now I'm going to categorize my home and my bills up under my home category, and I'm going to give that a color. The next category is my food. So this month I told myself I'm not giving myself a frappe budget. However, I am giving myself a groceries and an out to eat and a food budget. Anything that I eat is going to go up under my food budget, and that's going to give me, I'm going to be budgeting $300 for that. So anytime that I spend money and I'm eating, or I'm going to the gas station, I'm picking up a frappe, or I'm going to McDonald's and I'm picking up a frappe, that money is actually going to come out of my grocery money. Now, the good thing about that is I've already went to the grocery store this month so far, and I spent $181 and I think 22 cents, somewhere around there. So I don't have a whole lot of money to spend on, you know, out to eat, going out and things like that. However, I do have a little bit of money that I can kind of like put towards like the out to eat type of stuff. But this month I'm trying to be very strict with myself. I'm trying to be very cautious of how I'm spending my money, and I definitely want to keep my budget, my food budget, up under this $300 budget. The next category is transportation. And being that I've already planned out how many times I'm going to the gas station, now I don't necessarily know realistically how many times I'm gonna go to the gas station, but I do know I've been going to the gas station at least one time a week. So I budget out one time a week every single Sunday of me going to the gas station, and I realized that when I was going to the gas station I wasn't really going over my $60 budget, and I'm trying to save a little bit of money, so I've dropped my $60 budget to $50 a week budget. So I'm only budgeting $200 this month for gas. The next category is subscriptions, and I have the same 3 subscriptions: Google storage, iCloud storage or Apple storage, and then my BeatLife membership, which totals up to $61.98. And then that's highlighted in the color orange. So you can highlight these categories into any type of color that you want them to be. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same colors I'm using, but you can color yours any type of way that you want to color yours. The next category is debt, and as you can see, your girl debt payment went from $500, over $500 a month, to now I'm down to $223.77 a month, which is still a lot to me because I would rather have this in my savings. I would rather invest this type of money, things like that. However, going from $500 and something a month to now $200 and something a month because I've been paying off my credit cards, I am super proud of myself. So for debt payment, I'm only left with my Discover credit card, my Merit credit card. Now that one do not have a balance on it. However, Merit, because the account is still open, they charge me a $4 fee every single month. And then I still have my collections account. Now I do have a Navy Federal account, but that one I'm on jointly with my boyfriend, and we pay that one down together out of the mortgage and the utilities, because all of that money, that anything that we share together actually comes out of that account. So the money actually comes out of that account every single month. So that's why I don't necessarily budget for it here, because it already comes out of the $1,500 that I'm already spending there. But so far this month, I'm going to be budgeting $223.77 when it comes to the debt. And one of my goals this month is to pay off at least half of the balance on the Discover credit card, because that's is one of my largest credit cards next to the Navy Federal credit card. So pray for me on that. Your girl, as you're going to see at the end of the month, is not going to have enough money to do that. So I definitely count on my content creation and me making these videos and me posting content on all of my platforms. Hopefully I will generate some money from that, and I can use that money to take care of my goals for the month. So once after I do all of the things that I know needs to be taken care of, I do what is called a zero-based budget, and I take my income and I subtract all of my bills and expenses just to see how much money I have left, and I use that money any way I wanted to use it, and I consider that as like my miscellaneous / fun spending. So for me, once I take my income and I subtract all of my expenses, I am left with $78.07. So I don't have a whole lot of room to do a whole lot of things with, or to even go over budget with. However, because I am basing my budget on the bare minimum that I know I'm going to receive from my job, a lot of times I make way more money than, well, not way more money. A lot of times I make more money than this, and then I also generate extra income on the side that I can also include inside of this as well. So that's the good thing about, me being a content creator, me actually planning out my budget and looking at my finances and seeing, okay, well, can my bare minimum, if I don't make money online, can my bare minimum still take care of my bills and expenses and still be able to save money? Yes, I can. So at the end of this budget, I'm left with $78.07. So if I do not make any more money online, if I just only get my bare minimum paychecks, I will have $78.07 left. And I already have told my son that we're going to be doing something for spring break. Everything do not have to cost money to have a little bit of fun. And I guess I can show you guys that as we do it on spring break. I've already know that I've got a play date set up with him, with my friend and her kids. So that shouldn't cost us a whole lot of money. Maybe even if we go to like a park or go, grab something to eat, that still shouldn't cost us a whole lot of money. The main thing that it probably will cost me a whole lot of money is that My son actually want to go to the fair this year, and I'm going to take him to the fair this year. Hopefully the fair don't cost $75. I don't think that I'm going to necessarily ride anything, but I'm pretty sure it's probably going to cost me some money to get in myself, and probably cost him some money to get in himself as well. So I'm thinking hopefully it shouldn't cost us, or I shouldn't spend no more than $75 on taking him to the fair. I'm thinking about maybe grabbing something to eat before we actually go there, so that way we won't have to spend money on food necessarily there, and that way he can just enjoy his time there. And once I take out the $75 from the $78.07, I'm only left with $3.07 at the end of the month, you guys. So hopefully I do not go over in any one of these budget categories, because it's pretty much probably going to put your girl in the hole. But I just wanted to share with you how I budget my $60,000 salary living here in Atlanta. That's exactly how I do it on a month-to-month basis. If you are interested in this budget workbook, I'm going to link it down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.